is triple burner 17. I'm going to go posterior and inferior to triple burner 16. Oh, on this side it's like way juicy. Now, you can more or less make a correlation. Once you start getting up to large intestine 18, you can start seeing how they correspond to, like, you know, C5, large intestine 18, and then small intestine 16, C4, and then small intestine 17, and triple burner 16 might be more like C3. You're sort of coming up the neck. And if you want, you can therefore also think about chakra levels as you're going. And it's good to train yourself to just kind of be able to get a rough visual of which vertebral level you think you're working on. This is really out of balance right here. You okay?
Yeah, this side is kind of tricky.
Okay. Is it hurting? I better
I've
stop
got
pulling it.
Right, it's the turning that does it more
excuse
than.
me.
No, it's fine. It's just
Okay.
I can.
Because I think my traction was a little too strong for her, actually, right there. Yeah. So, okay
Michael's worse.
Say that again?
Michael, go.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, so then working triple burner 16 zone here, and I'm quite interested by this triple burner 16 zone, even though she's telling me about some pain here. I'm feeling, oh, that's interesting. And, you know, if I was giving her a full treatment, I might spend a bit more time exploring that area. But at the same time, I'm quite concerned to aggravate her, because I could tell, putting my hands on her neck, that she's had, you know, a history of neck issues, and I don't want to mess it up, which is doable. So let's keep going up the spiral, right? So we've gone, just to review, we've gone CV 22, TN2, heavenly prominence or heavenly expression, the expression of the heavenly energy. Literally, TN2, the character 2 is a dog rushing out of the mouth of a cave barking. And so that often, for some reason nowadays, in modern Chinese, has become the idea of prominence. But it's actually, if you think about it in relation to your throat chakra, it's the heavenly dog rushing out of the cave and barking. Right? So it's very much the expression of truth at the level of the throat chakra. Makes that point more interesting when you really analyze the meaning of the name. So that's our first wind of heaven point, but it's not called the first, it's just the first one. So then we go to the one that is actually called number 1, and that's Renying, humans welcome, which is this, you know, point that I have to confess I rarely work with, because I don't like putting needles around people's carotid artery. But in the history of Chinese acupuncture, this is a very, very important point. A lot of, you know, there's probably a lot of traditional uses of this that I don't even grasp, but it's interesting. Some modern acupuncturists use Renying, stomach 9, to regulate blood pressure because of the carotid baroreceptors that are close to there. And again, it's that idea of the energy is trapped upwards, which is, if you look at these traditional descriptions of the effects of, that's on the other sheet, the effects of the wind of heaven points, you'll see that a lot of it's about energy trapped upwards.
I think in the Shanghai Moon you were supposed to compare the pulse at Rin 9 to the pulse
And in
at
the Neijing there's a bunch of that too. There's a lot of taking pulses here, comparing them to ankle pulses and arm pulses, and in fact it's repeated over and over again, isn't it? The pulse should be 3 times bigger here than there, and so on, yeah. Moving on. So that's Renying, and then we have large intestine 18, and that large intestine 18 is our second one in the 7-fold sequence. And then we have small intestine 16, so I'm going to come to the angle of the jaw, find it right there. And then we have small intestine 17, which is right there. And so that's third and then fourth. And then we have the fifth one, which is triple burner 16. And then we have the sixth of point in the sequence, which is bladder 10, I believe. Is that right? Is my 6th bladder 10? It should be in my brain. I just want to double check. Yeah. So bladder 10 is our 6th one. Ooh, and it's such a goodie for her. Yeah. You okay with this? Yeah. I'm going to try and be really gentle, but there's an awful lot of interesting stuff about bladder 10. Now, bladder 10 is, to me, a fascinating point. Bladder 10 is at about the level of C2. If you study anatomically, you'll see that the transverse process of C2 pretty much comes out to where you're going to find bladder 10. You're going to find bladder 10 right in the belly of the trapezius muscle. As the trapezius muscle comes up and inserts, gallbladder 20 is going to be to the side right here. And, you know, realistically, you can add your gallbladder 20 in as an honorary window of heaven point for sure, right? Because it's such an amazing point. But then bladder 10 is a window of heaven point, but it's also the meeting point or the reunion point of the divergent channel of the kidney. So to me, that makes it very significant. The kidney and bladder channels diverge from each other at the back of the knee, bladder 40 area. And the divergent channels really are those aspects of the channels that carry the element energy, right? If you think about the divergent channels a little bit, and you think about, well, what is it that the kidney and the bladder channel have in common, or what is it that the lung and the large intestine channel have in common? It's the element, right? They're different phases, you know. Kidney is Xiaoyin, bladder is Taiyang, lung is Taiyin, large intestine is Yangming. So it's not the phase they have in common, it's the element they have in common. So when you see something which unites the yin and the yang channel, what it has to be carrying is the element energy, right? So what you can think about with bladder 10, Tianzhu, heavenly pillar, is that there's an energy of the essence of the water force, the water element being carried. And there's also a connection down to the lower part of the body, a strong one. Now, in my training with my first teacher, Sangitan, he taught me that the back of the knee in Mongolian medicine, traditional medicine, houses the fear of death. So when the Mongols were running most of Asia, which they did for a long time, after battle they would always massage the back of each other's knees to pull the fear of death out of the body. And I do that frequently with many patients. But if you think about the divergent channel of the kidney and bladder, it's diverging at the back of the knee and it's reuniting here at bladder 10. So here at bladder 10 you've got this penetration or entry of the kidney qi right into the brain. And you've got a place where you can connect to that lower part of the body, and it's a very similar idea because we're actually just on the border of the transverse process of C2. It's a similar idea to the idea expressed in craniosacral therapy of how the dura mater attaches to these posterior borders of the vertebrae right here, of C1 and C2, and then reunites down at the tailbone. You've got this area where you can harmonize the upper and the lower in a really powerful way. And actually, as I'm doing this, I think it's having a good effect on it. How are you feeling? It's kind of a good energetic something. Can we turn to the other side? You okay with that? Yeah. So I'm just going to massage it on this side too. So that's our sixth. In the sequence, so as sequenced in the Neijing, this is the sixth of the seven. Tianzhu. Okay, so the seventh in the sequence, the last in the sequence according to the Neijing, is governor vessel 16. Governor vessel 16 is basically at the level of C1. So I'm just going to find that little space in the back of the neck. Yeah. And actually, I'm not really getting much urge to do anything too intense right there. I think I could really, because at governor vessel 16 on the level of massage, you're working with the interrelationship of the atlas and the axis, and I don't want to mess anything up. And she's working with an osteopath, so I'm just going to put a little pulsation in there. Yeah.